I'm making a quilt for my county fair, except I only have 4 weeks to do it. So I do have to apologize because I did actually start this quilt before deciding to record the process. Its design is pretty simple for me as a beginner and only includes 4 colors. When I designed the quilt, I wanted it to be relatively easy for me to accomplish in a short amount of time. And now that I'm crunching this project into 4 weeks, I'm really thanking my previous self for that little bit of foresight. The finished quilt should be around 45 by 45 inches with each block, and its finished state coming out to be about 5 by 5 inches.
Okay, so as for what I have so far, since I already started cutting, this is the back of the quilt. There's fuzz everywhere. This is the back of the quilt that I cut out that is a little bit bigger than it needs to be. So we will have a little bit of wiggle room when it comes to sewing that on the back. I'm gonna wait till I have the outer square rows finished and kind of sewn sort of together, or able to be pieced together. And then I'm gonna lay them around this so that we can see, or that I can see just how much seam allowance I have and how much I can trim so that it will be the right size. This is a dark, maroon. It doesn't really come up great on camera. This should be entirely done. We have all of the squares for this. These are all the triangles for it that I am a little nervous about because I should have made the squares, when I cut the triangles, I should have made them 7 by 7 instead of the 6 by 6. Because the finished quilt, the squares are going to be 5 by 5 inches. So the 6 by 6 gives me that ½ inch of seam allowance around the whole thing. But for the triangles, since I cut them from a 6 by 6 square, I just kind of cut like this. They are a little smaller than they should be. So say I'm trying to sew the squares together, it'll go on the white, but like this. That seam allowance is gonna cut right through here, and it's not really quite gonna reach. I mean, maybe it will, but I'm probably gonna have to pull it down a little bit from the edge. But I'll see when I do the other triangles, because the other triangles are gonna be in white, and I don't have that cut out yet. And then the darker, the plain pink, this is a baby pink. Again, it's really hard to see on camera. I have more of this than I need because I did change the design to include this flower fabric after I had already cut out all of the squares and triangles that I needed for this color. So the triangles are just going to get used for another project, hopefully down the line. But I'm going to have to recount these and see how many I don't need, because I know that there's definitely more here than I need. And then I don't have all of these cut out yet, and I do also still need to do the triangles like this. But for the triangles, I am going to cut them 7 by 7 squares so that they will have that extra seam allowance around these edges is really where I'm super nervous. This one, not as much. This is going to end up a little smaller, but I am out of this fabric. So I'm just going to have to make this work, and I think I'm going to have to just compensate a little bit with the white. And we'll see how the finished squares come out. And then I'm just probably going to have to compensate the rest of the sizing around those squares. I'll show on screen what the block I'm talking about is going to look like. So we'll see. We'll see how that turns out. Hopefully it'll turn out okay. So what I have to do next is cut out all the triangles of the white. I need to iron it first. This is a big just pile of fabric. And then I need to cut out, like I said, the rest of the really cute flower fabric, get the triangles done for that. I should have just enough of this to do that. And then after that, it's just going to be sewing. It's going to be piecing together. I'm probably going to go row by row on the front, and on the back I'm going to do one full row that includes the corners for maybe the top and bottom, and the side ones are going to be 4 so that I can, like I said, puzzle piece it around the back. I'm gonna make the front first because that'll also help me with my sizing for the back, because I know for a fact this is gonna be just a little bigger, so that it's 39 by 39, give or take an inch, maybe ½ inch, but it needs to be only 35, so that excess is fine. I'd rather have excess than not enough. But yeah, so I guess the rest of this video is going to be me cutting out the rest of the fabric, and then maybe I'll start sewing today. We'll see how long it takes me to cut these out. Probably not long. So I might start like pinning at the very least. I don't know if that'll be shown in this video, but at least in the next one it will. But yeah, let's get started. Let's do it.
So here I'm ironing the flower fabric, and before anyone comes for me in the comments, I know that this is not an ironing board, it is a wooden lap board, but it works for now, and I don't have an ironing board on my own, so this makes do. Here I am ironing, like I said, and getting ready to cut out the rest of the squares and triangles for the flower fabric. And here I decided to cut off this salvage edge because it was puckering the fabric and just generally being really annoying, and I didn't want it to mess with when I was measuring out for the squares. And here you can see that it actually worked pretty well. So I've discovered a hiccup in my measurements, really. So I'm looking at my own like calculations for the squares that I need, and I've made a little bit of an oopsie. So I only need 12 of like the full squares. I have 14 here. So I actually am going to have 2 like waist squares because I wanted to make the 5 squares that are going to be cut into quarters 7 by 7 inches instead of the 6 by 6 that I'm using for the full normal squares. So these 2 are going to get to go into the pile for a later project. But I thought I'd just mention that on this recording rather than trying to make a voiceover. So with that hiccup over with, here I am measuring and getting ready to cut out these squares from the flower fabric. And while I'm doing this, I actually wanted to take a minute to talk about why I'm doing this, both why I'm making the quilt and why I've decided to film it. So my county fair, like I said, actually I don't think I said, it has a quilt barn. And every year, everyone locally who makes quilts can enter their quilt into the barn, and it will be displayed, and people can vote for like category winners. I do not think that my quilt is going to win an award this year just because it is fairly simple compared to a lot of quilts that I've seen in the past. I really am just doing this because I really want to see my quilt up on that wall. It's definitely a bucket list goal of mine. And as for recording this, I've always wanted to actually start posting my creations online. I've always been a creative person, and I've always liked creating random things, and it's always been in my head to start actually recording them and posting them online, but I finally just decided to do it. So this is you're seeing the first ever video that I'm going to post, so hopefully it'll get received well. So as I continue, here I am cutting out the triangle pieces from the flower fabric. I'll show on screen what I'm actually doing, but really I'm just taking the 7 by 7 squares that I cut out and cutting a cross from corner to corner to make the quartered triangles. And at this point in the video, my dog Sydney decided that he really needed to be in front of the camera. And off to the side he goes. Now I've completed the flower fabric, and I'm going to move on to the white. So I'm not actually going to show most of the white because I'm doing the exact same process that I did for the pink flower fabric, and it's going to just be a lot of the same thing over and over again, so I'm going to skip through most of it here. And here I finished all of the white squares to the back, and after a quick camera angle change, here I am cutting out the triangles of the white. And it was at this point in the day where I really started to feel a lot of pain in my body, and it made it really hard for me to stand and lean over a board to cut, so I ended up calling it quits after this. Okay, so it is the next morning. I did not get to finish the triangles for the white, but as of yesterday, all of the 6x6 white squares for the back are done. All of the light pink fabric, that's all done. All of the flower fabric, both these squares and the triangles, are done. And then all of the the dark maroon is also done. And then we have the back. And then all that I have left to do today is to just cut the rest of these in half to make these. So that's the rest of the cutting that I have, and then I'm gonna go through and I'm going to lay everything out just the way that it's gonna be like for the front of the quilt, so I can see, make extra sure that I have exactly the amount that I need, and that I'm not gonna run into any issues later on when I'm trying to piece things together, because then I'm gonna have to go back and cut more fabric out, and that's just really annoying, and I don't want to have to do that. So hopefully I should have enough. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I know that I have more than I need of this. And then everything else, I'm just gonna do a double checking count, and it should be good. This is working up a lot quicker than I thought it was going to, which is really good considering the time limit that I have. But I don't want to get too ahead of myself by being like, oh, it's almost done, because it's really not. And the piecing process sounds like it doesn't take a long time, but it really does. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so that did not take nearly as much time as I thought it was going to. I thought I had a lot more of them left. So this is the massive stack of the white triangles. I'm really hoping that I didn't overcount for these. But I also have to remember that each block that includes them includes 3 of them. So I think we're okay. I don't think there's gonna be too many more than we need, or any more than we need actually. But that's just me getting nervous about it, because I really don't want to waste any of my fabric, because we already have the pink triangle that I'm no longer using, plus whatever pink squares I have in excess, plus those 2 flower squares that we're probably going to make like a smaller mini quilt. Like maybe a mini replica of this one or something funny. So now, since I already have these cut out and it's gone quicker than I thought it was going to, I am going to lay everything out, probably on my floor, not on my bed, just so I have the room. And then I'm gonna show you guys, and then I guess that'll be the end of this video for now, and then next video, like I said, we will start pinning and sewing. Thank you for watching. This is a strange thing for me. I've never really had to stand
and speak to a camera or just exist in front of a camera while working on something like this. So it's been really strange, like subconsciously monitoring my body language as I'm doing things. Like, I know very well that I tend to get a very strong, like, bitch face as I work on things. I tend to look extremely angry. I guess, like, for this, it works because you can't really see my face while I'm working. Otherwise, you would be asking me why I'm so angry. I'm not. I just look like that. That's my focus face. I haven't really, like, taken a second to actually talk. That's not been super scripted or just me really trying to get information across. Because I tend to ramble and I don't really want to post a YouTube video that's just me continuously going on more and more and more tangents like I currently am doing. But I think this one's okay. I am really excited for this. I'm super excited to see it finished. I'm really happy with the newer design. I don't know if I showed what the design used to look like, but if you can imagine the current design, but all of the spots where the flower fabric is, replace it with just like the pink. And it looked okay. It looked cute. But that flower fabric just really elevates it, and I think it looks really cute. I found that fabric when I was shopping for the other two. My fabric is all from Walmart, by the way. I am a struggling college student, so I cannot afford to go to really big, fancy fabric places, and Hobby Lobby, I do not dare step foot inside those walls. Michael's doesn't really have much, and rest in peace, Joann's. So this is about all I got. Walmart, some of the Walmarts local to me still sell fabric, and they have decent selections, at least when it comes to cotton, which is all that this is going to be made out of. But yeah, this is going well. I am excited. I hope you guys are excited if you've stayed this long in the video and if you've listened to my whole yap this morning. I'm very energetic. Yesterday I was losing my energy really fast. Today I have it back. So, sorry for the change in quality. This is my phone now, but I was able to lay out just like the first like complete motif row of the quilt. So there's going to be like this times 2 more to make it a square. And honestly, this is making me very excited. I am still a little nervous about these guys, but doing this has both made me more nervous and less nervous about them at the same time. Because the white ones, you can see how much overlap there is of where that seam allowance is on those. I think they'll be okay. I am definitely going to make these blocks first, just so that I can truly see how big I can make them using those smaller triangles, because I think that it is definitely going to be slightly smaller than what I want it to be, because I'm not having like this much seam allowance. Like, you can see how the pink here is like equal overlap to these. These are not. These are like as big as you can like see. But I'm really excited. Like, you can see how it's gonna come together, and I think it looks really cute. The colors don't come across as well on camera as they look in person. The darker color is a lot more pink toned in person. It looks very brown and very red on camera, but it is actually more of like a plum. It's pink. It's pink. Trust me, it is pink. But yeah, that's about it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you did actually watch this whole video full through, this is, like I said, this is my first ever YouTube video doing something like this. So I really hope that whoever watched this enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a comment or a like. Let me know what you thought. Let me know how you think this is going to come out. I think it's going to come out really great. I have my pattern right here. I think it's gonna look awesome. I'm super excited. So I will see you guys next time. I don't know when the next video is gonna come up. Depending on how long it takes me to film, well, to do the stuff for the next video and to film it and then to edit that video, I'm hoping to have it up the week after this video is getting posted, because I would like to keep them like together. But you never know. Never know if I'm actually going to be able to crunch that in on time. So I will see you next when I see you next. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!